Hello, my lovelies. I went for a walk today to see what I could see. I saw mud and dried leaves and patches of snow, fallen branches with fungus that had started to grow, tall, tall birch trees with their papery skin, a small patch of moss hiding secrets within. As I came upon a little bridge, I hoped the troll was still in bed as I walked quietly overhead. Birds singing and small hints of green. Even though spring has arrived, sadly not a fairy was seen. So I gathered some sticks and the bark of a birch in order to make somewhere for a fairy to perch. It's time to head home and out of this dell, and I'll share how to make a fairy wishing well. So, along with the sticks and the bark and everything that I collected on my walk, I'm going to go ahead and use this little can, this little tin that used to have tea in it, because we like to sit down and have our tea. But it's a bit too tall, so I cut it down to about 2.5 inches, and that's what the base of the wishing well is going to be on. And then I need to get the little uprights because wishing well's got to have somewhere for the bucket to go. So we'll clip down some sticks or some branches to with a little Y in them. You want the little Y so that's where the a cross beam can go. Now, I wasn't thinking, and I did this a bit wrong. See how there's a bit of a bend in that stick? It probably needed to be straighter. It would have helped with the little roof to sit straighter later, but whatever. It's rustic, it's sticks and bark. What more can you expect, right? I'm going to go ahead and make 2 of those. And I don't want the sticks to be too thick. I want them to be, I don't know, about an eighth of an inch, I guess, around, give or take. And I need 2 of them because I need one for each side. Once I have those, I'm going to go ahead and get the little sticks for all the way around the bucket. Again, they're going to be about 2.5 inches tall, and I need a whole bunch of them. So I'll cut them down to about the same size as the tea canister, and I'm just going to keep cutting a whole bunch of them. I wish I had some sort of fancy story to tell. I'm really good at this whole storytelling thing. Maybe I'll work on that. I like to think that the fairies would make this little wishing well, and they would have fun collecting the little branches to go with it. But it was just me. There were no fairies on my walk, sadly. Now that I have a whole bunch of them, I'm also going to work on the roof. So I have this beautiful piece of birch bark, which, don't fret, no trees were harmed. Well, I didn't harm the trees. The trees were already felled due to, I don't know, probably a disease or something like that. But I would never, ever strip birch bark from a live tree. That's so damaging to the poor tree. And I've decided that I want the roof to be about 4 inches across. You see how there's this sort of gnarly part of the bark? Well, I like the gnarly part of the bark, especially because it's just got more interest than just a straight sheet of the birch bark. So I like to keep that gnarly part as part of the roof. And now I've got 2 pieces the same size. I'm just going to do a little cross beam. You're not even really going to see this later, but it's just meant to help support it. Clip it down to size. I do a lot of hot gluing and then adding other glue to support it. So in this case, I really strongly recommend wood glue for this because this is a basically wooden project. Unfortunately, the part about wood glue is it takes forever to set up. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue it first, set the stick in place or the crossbeam in place, and then I'm going to thickly add the wood glue. Make sure that sucker stays together. And we'll do the exact same thing on the other side. So a little bit of hot glue first, and then I'll just secure it with the wood glue. And when that wood glue dries, oh, she's really sturdy. Yeah, don't be afraid to put that in the middle of the camera there. Oh my goodness. And we can see about, oh yeah, I painted the can. It doesn't really matter because ultimately you're not even going to see the can. So if you paint it, you paint it. If you don't, you don't. Doesn't really matter. Either way is fine. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the roof with the sticks on the side, a little bit of hot glue, and then support it with the wood glue. Make sure it's level. Nice. And all those little sticks that I pre-cut, just going to go ahead and glue them all the way around. Good. Another nice good lather of the wood glue to make sure that they set nice and sturdy. Such an easy craft, really. Just got to make sure you have the right supplies. There we go. And I'm just going to do this process all the way around. A little bit of hot glue when I need it. Add the wood glue, stick them down until I get all the way around. And there we go, all the way around. Just to secure them in place, I'm going to do my very best to get an elastic around there. Pick off any extra glue gun glue because, oh man, the strings get everywhere. Okay, so I'm having a little, oh, there we go. We got it on. We'll put the little side support beams on the little roof. And we'll do that on both sides. There we go. And this is going to take a bit to dry. Clip off any of the top pieces or the pieces that are above. Now I made some paper clay. I put the recipe on the screen. Sorry, my stuff isn't very well centered, but it's really, really, really easy to do. It's just basically toilet paper and white glue and a little bit of either cornstarch or flour. I prefer cornstarch. And you just you blend up your toilet paper in water so it's just fibers, and then you mix in the glue and the cornstarch or flour or whatever, and it's just moldable putty type stuff, but it's pretty strong because it's full of all of the paper fibers from the toilet paper. And I really like the look of it. I find that you could make it into little stones if you wanted. I didn't really do a whole lot of like sculpting on this. I just kind of put it down. But you could sculpt in like a little stone type feature. And then the other thing I did was just cover up that cross beam underneath the roof. Again, more stability, more support. I've also made paper clay using drink trays from like McDonald's or Tim Hortons or wherever you get your coffee from. And that stuff, you just boil it first so that it's a nice soft and it kind of loosens up all the glue out of the trays, even egg cartons for that matter. You rip them down and then you boil them so they're nice and soft, and then you blend them with water in the blender so they become just little fibers. And they're great for this kind of thing. I use them as like stucco on fairy houses. So now that it's been 24 hours and everything is dried nice and dry, I'm going to go ahead and attach the roof. Again, just a little dab of hot glue in this case. I probably should have also used some white glue in there, or the white glue, or even the wood glue. And now, because this is a fairy wishing well, it's got to have a little bit of glitter. So I'm using this sort of champagne gold, sort of glittery paint. Doesn't show very well out on camera, but looks really nice in person. It's got a little bit of a shine to it, but it's not gold. And I do this around the edge where I put the paper clay on, and then also underneath. I don't even know why, because you're not even really going to see that. I cover it in moss later anyway, but whatever. We just did it anyway. Now for the roof, I wanted something a little bit shinier. So I went with a very, very bright, shiny gold. And you don't need a whole lot because you're sort of dry brushing here. You dip it in and you just take off the extra paint. And this is where that gnarly bit of the birch bark comes into play. I really like to highlight it with the gold. It's kind of like that Japanese way of bringing out the damaged parts when they fix pottery with the gold. I really like to bring out the beauty of the bark with little touches of this brilliant gold on especially the parts that are, well, less than pristine. Time for the moss or the greening of the wishing well. I could have grabbed the moss that was in the forest on my walk, but I figured I'd leave it there for all the little critters that might need it now that spring has arrived. Not a lot of green in the forest yet, so I thought I'd leave what was there. Instead, I used some things that you can get for dioramas. So this isn't a static grass, but it is a sort of foliage type material that you use for dioramas and things like that. I just got it off of Amazon. Wonderful stuff. And I used it to fill in all the little cracks and crevices all the way around. See, didn't need to paint the can. Anyways, I digress. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got lots of glue. It's just regular white glue to fill in all these cracks, and I just squish it in and it just stays, and it's great. I love the look of it. I also use some stabilized moss. So this is reindeer moss that's been dyed and stabilized. This looks so green on the screen. It is not that bright in person, thankfully. And I just took little pieces of it and put wherever I thought, well, maybe little clumps of moss might be. Including covering up that stabilizing piece in the middle of my roof. Just close that off with some moss. Ugh, glue strings everywhere, I swear. Now this stuff is a little bit different. It's kind of a viney type thing. It's very springy and stretchy, and it's not very cooperative. So if you can't find this, oh my goodness, don't worry about it. You can use other things or just more of the stabilized moss. You don't need to use this, but I had it and I thought it was kind of fun, so I added it on. It was a little bit of troublesome to get it to work, but the end result was all right. I'm just going to add moss and these little vines anywhere I think might need them. So in this case, right up, winding it right up the upright. And of course, a little bit on the roof. Finicky stuff though. Oh my goodness. Sticks to everything except for what you want it to stick to. Now these little leaves are great fun. These are also from getting like doing miniatures and dioramas and stuff. They look like little leaves and they're so fun. And they come in a whole bunch of different colors. There's fall leaves and there's pink ones. And I just chose the green because I'm going for sort of a spring theme. And I just added the glue down. This again, just regular white glue, and put them on, sprinkled them on. And I just love the texture. It feels very organic to me. I just think they're wonderful. Add a little bit more because, well, sometimes more is better. We're almost done here. We're just going to add a couple more of these little leaves, shake off the excess, clean up the mess, and we're going to call it a day. And there we go. Cute little wishing well. And here we have the final reveal. Ah, ooh, oh, it's so beautiful. Unfortunately, I missed the little crossbeam that holds the bucket. Oh well. I think the fairies will like it though. I even added a tiny little metal butterfly to give it a little pizzazz. Hope you like it. Like and subscribe, or not, whatever. Bye.